Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the online seminar. How are you guys doing? Anshul, Ashutosh, Narendran, Bhargav, Bindu, Rohit, Monica, Palash. How are you guys doing? Superb. Awesome. Having a good time? All right. Hi, Josh. Josh is missing. Josh is there in the form of a person, but the energy is not there. We're not yet started, and a lot of you, I see none of you are very active. Okay, we'll be getting started now. Okay, so before we get started, I'd like to know, something about you. Okay, we'll all get to know about each other. Your names, where you from, what are you guys doing? All right. Okay, hi Shiva. Okay, so which city are you from? Okay, Shiva from Hyderabad. Rohit also from Hyderabad, okay? Sanjeev, Taru, Varun, Monica, Haripriya, Bindu. Bhargav also from Hyderabad, okay? What about the rest of you? Okay, Josh Ram from West Godavari, all right. Haripriya from Hyderabad. Monica from Hyderabad. Okay, so I don't know how Hyderabad looks like. Okay, but you can tell me which locality in Hyderabad. Maybe you will find you'll find that you guys are neighbors. Sure, Ramcharan, I can provide you the meeting ID. Are you looking to invite your friend? Okay, Bhargav from Defense Colony. Okay. Anybody from Defense Colony, Hyderabad? Hi, Anna. Anna Shahnaz. All right. Haripriya from Kompalli. Narendran from Chandanagar. Okay. Okay. Monica stays near Defense Colony. Sanikpuri. Okay. Shiva from Dilshuk Nagar. Yes, Praneet, you can only hear my voice, and later on the presenter of the online seminar. Okay, this is how it's going to be. You'll be able to listen to us. You'll be able to read the slides, and if you want to interact, if you want to ask questions or get some doubts cleared, you'll have to message. Okay, Rohit is saying, looks like this webinar is exclusively for Hyderabadis. Not at all, Rohit. Okay, though we may be a popular choice, but this is not only for Hyderabadis. Okay, so what are you guys currently doing? Are you studying? Are you working? What are you guys doing? How many of you are in college? Okay, Rohit, BTech third year, all right. Okay, Bhargav is working in Merchant Navy, all right. And you want to write GRE, superb. Rohit is doing mechanical engineering. Amal is in third year. Monica is in BTech third year. Haripriya, BTech 4th year. Josh, BTech final year. All right. Taru, BTech 3rd year. Okay. So when are you guys planning to write your GRE? When is the most probable date for you? Within 1 year, says Sripal. Taru says this July. Haripriya says February 13th. Rohit says March 25th. Bhargav says Feb 28th. Josh says August. Brian says 1 year. Feb 5. Okay. So you can answer this poll. It will summarize for everyone. Amal says August. Satish, Feb 30th. Feb 30th, Satish. When does Feb 30th happen? Okay, so how many of you have started preparing? How much of preparation have you completed? Okay, Rajesh says he's doing final year BTech Mechanical Engineering. All right. Okay, I'll close this poll. Okay, Rohit says started 20 days back. All right. Amal just started. Varun hasn't started. Rajesh Reddy says January 22nd is my GRE exam. All right. Very all the best, Rajesh. I hope this seminar helps you a lot and you are able to boost your score. If you need any help, we continue to support you even after the online seminar. Okay, Bhargav hasn't started. Bhargav has just started. Pranita just started. Okay, so one more poll. We'll just summarize. Your level of preparation. Going to start, says Sripal. Haripriya started. Sure, Taru. If you can, bear with us, for a couple of minutes, or rather an hour, then we'll give you a very detailed explanation about the test series. Okay, that'll do. That'll be fine, Taru. All right. So if everybody has voted, I'd like to close the poll. All right then. Thank you for participating. I'm really loving the energy. Okay. So you guys are ready? Yeah? Okay, because we are ready to present the online seminar. Okay. So, I got to know a lot about you guys. You might be wondering who is this guy, blabbering and yammering so much. Okay. My name is Samarth. Okay. I'm the organizer for today's online seminar. Okay. I'm a senior advisor with GREedge. Okay. And with me, I have my colleague, Mr. Manikumar. Okay. He's going to be presenting today's online seminar. Okay. And you guys are absolutely going to love this online seminar. Because this guy is a fantastic presenter. Okay, he loves his audience, he loves students, he loves to help people. Okay, and with all this, he's also a real big expert in the field of GRE RC. Okay, so with his experience and with his empathy for students, he has agreed to present an online seminar for all of you. Okay, and with this very brief introduction, I like to hand over the mic to Mr. Manikumar. Thank you, guys.
Okay, good evening, guys. That was a rather extravagant introduction by Mr. Samarth. Thank you, Samarth. All right, guys. So shall we start today's online seminar? Yes. Okay. So guys, I see we have students attending from all over India, and probably many students from outside India. Okay, we have got a very good attendance today. Okay, so guys, before starting, let me set some ground rules for today's online seminar. Okay, I want all of you to participate. Okay, since we cannot see each other, you cannot see me and I cannot see you. It's very important for you guys to acknowledge whatever I say. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's wrong or doesn't matter if it's right. Okay, it's very important for you guys to acknowledge whatever I say. You say yes or say no. Okay, all right, is that clear, guys? Okay, and while we are discussing, if you have any doubts, you can ask me straight away if you have any doubts regarding the topic that we are discussing. And if you have any doubts, like someone just asked about the test series, if you have any doubts not relating to the topic that we are discussing, then not to worry, we'll have a special question and answer session at the end of the seminar. That would be around 8 o'clock. Okay, and then we'll personally take your doubts and clarify all your doubts. Okay, is that all clear, guys? All clear? Okay, all of you say yes. Okay, all right, guys, I don't want you guys to be the silent listeners. I want you guys to be active participants. Okay, okay, only then this seminar will be meaningful and much enjoyable, as much as it is informative. Okay, we'll start today's online seminar, Guide to Crack Tough RC Passages in GRE. Now before we start, let me ask you this. How many of you guys know what is RC? What is reading comprehension? You can just give me an answer in yes or no. Do you guys know what is an RC, or do you want me to explain what is RC? Okay, Sripal wants me to explain what is RC. Okay, alright, Junaid also wants me to explain. Alright guys, RC is reading comprehension. Okay, in reading comprehension is a one section of your GRE Verbal, of your GRE exam. Okay, in RC sections, what you'll have to do is you'll get a passage. Okay, a huge article, a big article on any topic or any blog post or any article. You'll have to read it and answer the question that that follows. Okay, they'll give you a certain article, they'll give you a certain blog post or any article from any magazine, and they'll ask you questions based on that. You'll have to answer according to your understanding of the passage. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, but it's not as simple as that. Okay, it's the passages are quite tough. Okay, so we need to practice a lot to get those to make those RC passages easier. Okay, now how many of you are really scared of GRE RC? Taru is scared, Junaid is scared, Varun is scared, Nikita is scared, Pranit is scared, Ramcharan, Amal is a bit scared. Anna, is it Anna? Anna, am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Anna or is it Anna? Haripriya is scared. Okay, yeah, Anna is also scared. Monica is also scared. Okay, I see a lot of you guys. It's not a new thing, guys. Most of the students, when they start their GRE preparation, they are actually not very comfortable with the RC section. Okay, as you guys said. Okay, but don't worry. Okay, at the end of this seminar, I'll ask you this question again. I'll ask you this question: are you still scared of RC? Then you can give me your answers. Okay, now let's start today's online seminar. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll show you a picture. Okay, there will be a picture on your screen. I want you guys to see that picture and recognize it and tell me what did you understand from that picture. Guys, can you see that image on the screen? Amal straight away says Jungle Book. Alright, Amal. Kranti says Mowgli. Martin says Mowgli. Mowgli is surrounded by a snake, says Junaid. Sripal says Mowgli. Alright, all of you guys know that's Mowgli and a snake. Okay. Now guys, tell me, why am I showing this picture to you? Why is this important here? Mowgli is trying to kill the baby. Junaid says inference. Ramcharan has a very interesting observation. Ramcharan says one of those eyes is same. Okay. Good observation, Ramcharan. What else? I mean, literally, what did you understand by this picture? Snake is the RC and Mowgli is us, and it is trying to scare us, Taru says. Taru, I couldn't agree with you more. Very good description, very good inference. Mowgli is scared. Correct. Okay. So consider this snake as an RC passage. Okay. RC passages are same, exactly like this snake. They are long and twisted and turning. Okay. And while you are looking at an RC passage, just like if you look at the eyes of this snake, okay, you will get hypnotized. Okay. So the RC passages are like that. They try to hypnotize you and make you not understand the passage. Okay. So they are quite tricky. Okay. They are not as easy as the RC passages that we used to study in our 10th class or 12th class. Okay. They are of a high difficulty. And moreover, the RC section carries 50% of the weightage of the whole GRE verbal section. So we cannot ignore RC section. Okay, if we ignore RC section, we are bound to lose marks. Okay, so it's very important. It's very important to concentrate on the RC section. Okay, Nikita says she has to leave. She wants to be a part of the session again. Okay, guys, guys, I can do one thing for you. I can, Nikita, especially since you have asked. I'll post a recording of today's online seminar on our Facebook page. Okay, and you guys can access it whenever you want. Okay, all right, guys, I'll tell you again. I'll post a recording of this session on our GREedge Facebook page. You guys can access it whenever you want, but that doesn't mean you guys can leave this. It's better if you guys stay here and you can ask questions directly and clear your doubts. Okay. It would be a much better experience for you rather than just seeing a recording. Okay, it wouldn't suffice. So I'll take your questions seriously and take your questions personally and answer them. So you guys can ask me, interact with me directly. Okay, all right, Nikita. If you guys if you guys want a recording, I'll provide you that. Okay, all right. So we just talked about the snake. The snake exactly looks like an RC passage. Okay. Now the RC passages will be exactly like that. They'll be very long. They'll be twisted and turning. Okay, and they'll probably try to hypnotize you. Okay. Now, guys, I'll show you a sentence. Okay, I'll show you a sentence. I want you guys to read that sentence. Okay, and tell me if you guys understood that. Mohammad Junaid says supernova cause stars to form. Correct, Junaid, but let's not get into the literal meaning. Okay, did you guys understand it? Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so what is the reason that you guys understood this sentence? What is the reason that you guys understood this sentence? Junaid says it's simple. Okay. How many of you agree with Junaid? Ashish also says it's Ramcharan says it's simple. Ashish says it's straightforward. Pranit also agrees with Junaid. Sripal and Taru also agree with Junaid. Okay, it's simple. Correct. Okay, so this sentence was the sentence that I just showed you. Okay, it was simple sentence. It was simple sentence. Okay, not to get into the literal meaning. Okay, it was, see, guys, before I get into the details, I'd like to tell you one thing. Okay, we don't read RC passages to gain information or gain knowledge. Okay, we just read them to answer the questions that are asked at the end of the RC passage. Okay, we are not reading an RC passage to gain information. Okay, all we have to do is read it just as much that we are able to answer the questions that are following. Okay, so you don't need to get into the literal meaning. Okay, an RC passage might talk about a probable mixture of two chemical elements. Okay, you probably won't understand that. Okay, but what is the essence? What is the author trying to say? That is what you need to understand. Okay, supernova triggered star formation. What is a supernova? I don't know. Okay, what is a supernova? Okay, I probably don't know. Okay, it whatever it is, it triggered a star formation. Okay, that's what I need to know. All right, guys, is it all clear? Okay, so it was a simple sentence. It's easy to understand, only one idea, easy to retain in memory. Okay, Junaid has a question. Junaid is asking, if we don't understand, how will we answer the questions? Okay, Junaid, that's a very good question. Okay, what I meant to say was that you don't have to get into the literal meaning. Okay, now since you came across a word supernova, you don't have to go to Google and search it what supernova is and research on that. Okay, that is not needed. Okay, when an RC passage says supernova triggered star formation, they'll probably ask you a question, what did a supernova trigger? Then you can say it triggered star formation. They won't ask you general knowledge questions, or they won't test you on the information that you retain. Okay, they'll ask you what is the understanding of your reading of the passage. Okay, now it was easy to retain in memory. Now tomorrow if I again meet you and ask you what was that sentence, would you be able to repeat that sentence? Supernova triggered star formation. Yes, isn't it? Okay, so it was a short sentence. It has only one idea. Okay, then and it's easy to retain in memory. Okay, so that is one example. Okay, now I'll show you another example. Okay, I'll read it out for you. Okay, you'll see it on the screen. If a supernova, the explosion of a massive star, triggered star formation from dense clouds of gas and dust, and if the most massive star to be formed from the cloud evolved into a supernova and triggered a new round of star formation, and so on, then a chain of star-forming regions would result, and if many such chains were created in a differentially rotating galaxy, the distribution of stars would resemble the observed distribution in a spiral galaxy. Now, how many of you understood that? Sripal understood. Ashish did. Shiva to some extent. Junaid understood. Haripriya understood. Tanya says kind of. Okay, see now we've got a mixed reactions here. Okay, some of you understood, some of you didn't understand. Okay, so the difficulty level is comparatively higher than the previous sentence. Agree with me? Okay, so why is it so? Why is it difficult? Why is it a little difficult to understand? Okay, well, it was a hard sentence, a complex sentence, and it had more than one idea. It was talking about so many things. Correct? Okay, and it was hard to retain in memory. If I ask you to repeat that sentence, would you be able to repeat that? No, not at all. It doesn't store in our memory. It's too long. Okay, so this is how an RC passage will be. Okay, probably the first sentence and second sentence almost meant the same, almost. Okay, but the way it is written, okay, The author could have written directly like the first sentence, but the author chooses to write like the second sentence. So most of your RC passages will be like the second sentence. Okay, yes, correct, Ramcharan. Okay, so that is the major difference in an actual RC passage and a passage or any article you read outside. Okay, now how to overcome it? Okay, now before I tell you how to overcome it, okay, this guys, how many of you have seen the movie Gajni? How many of you have seen the movie Gajni? Okay, so the hero suffers from a disorder called short-term memory loss, correct? Yes. Okay, so the short-term memory, that's very important. Okay, every for each one of us, the short-term memory is very important. Okay, the complexity and organization strain the limits of short-term memory. Okay, now when you're reading a sentence, okay, when you move from the first word to the last word, okay, what the short-term memory does is it retains the memory of the of the first part of the sentence while you are moving to the second part of the sentence. Okay, see, if you are reading a particular sentence, okay, and while you are approaching the last word, if you forget what is the first few words, what are the first few words, would you be able to understand the sentence? No, not exactly. Okay, so the short-term memory is very important. Okay, only if you remember only if you are able to collectively remember the whole sentence for a short period of time, you'll be able to make sense out of it. Okay, otherwise you'll have to read it again and again. Okay, and if you read it again and again in the GRE exam, what will happen? What will happen if you read a sentence again and again? Waste of time, correct? Okay, so that is something we don't want. Okay, that is something we don't want. Okay, so how do we overcome this? Okay, when you come across a very hard sentence that you are not able to understand, guys, has it ever happened to you that you are reading a newspaper article or you are reading any blog on the internet or any article on the internet, and you read a sentence, you don't understand, then you read it again, okay, still you don't understand, and you have to read it thrice to understand it? Has it happened to you? Yes. Okay, so that happens with most of us. Okay, if we are not if either we are not very proficient in reading or if we are not used to the subject that is written, okay, it tends to happen to us. Okay, so what do we do to overcome this particular thing? Okay, we need breaks in the flow of ideas by constantly practicing RC. Correct, Amal? That's very correct. Okay, practice makes a man perfect. Okay, we need breaks in the flow of ideas so that we can assimilate what we have read and then move on. Okay, now we'll take the example of a construction of a bridge. How many of you have seen a construction of a bridge? Okay, almost all of you have seen. Okay, so how is the bridge built? Is it built block by block, or is it built all at once? Block by block. Okay, why is it so? Why can't they just build the whole bridge at once and then leave? Anna says stepwise, correct. Ramcharan says it's impossible. Foundation wouldn't be strong. Cracks will happen, correct. Okay, so it's very difficult. Such a huge bridge, you can't probably build it at once. Okay, so you have to build it block by block, small blocks, and then assemble it together. Correct. Okay. Similarly, when you're reading an RC passage and you come across a very big sentence, okay, there are high chances that when you go from the first word of that sentence to the last word, you probably would forget what is written in the initial part of the sentence, okay, and you have to read it again, okay. Even if you read it again, you won't be able to make sense, okay. So if you come across a long sentence in an RC passage, you need to break it down so that you need to break it down into smaller parts so that each part is understandable, okay. So if you are given a sentence of 100 words, okay, will that be easier to understand, or if you are given 20 sentences of 5 words each, what would be easier to understand? Which one do you think would be easier to understand? Correct. Right. Okay. Yes, Bhavya, you're right. Okay. So similarly, we need to break the flow of ideas. Okay. When the author is writing something, he has a particular idea in mind. Okay. And to showcase that particular idea, he comes up with a lot of different ideas and puts that in various forms of sentences. Okay. Now each idea will represent something, so you need to break the flow of ideas and understand each idea separately and then collate it to make sense out of it. Okay, we can break the long sentence into more manageable units from which ideas can be understood easily. Okay, so understood till now, guys? Any doubts till now? Okay, now you might ask me that, okay, that's fine, we need to break down a long sentence in order to understand it. Okay, but how do we break it? How do we break a long sentence into shorter one? Does any of you have that doubt? Okay, I have a question here. Somebody is asking me, can you please start with the examples and the question types? Okay, guys, I can directly I can directly jump to the examples and question types. Okay, but it's like asking someone to write an essay when they are not very well aware of the complete English alphabet. Okay, when you are not aware of ABCD, you can't jump on to write essays. Correct? Okay, so let us go line by line. Let us go in a sequence. Okay, and then I'll definitely show you some examples. Okay. All right. Now, guys, we've talked about an RC passage. We've talked about the flow of ideas. Okay. Now, let me ask you, what is a passage? Okay, Bindu has a question. Bindu is asking, while reading an RC passage, how do we think from the author's point of view, from our point of view? Okay, Bindu, it's always good to think from the author's point of view. Okay, put yourself in the author's shoes, then everything will be much more clear. Okay. Shiva says group of ideas. Passage is a group of ideas. Bharadwaj says list of ideas. Haripriya says contains some information. Mahesh says combined sentences. Satish says okay, list of ideas. Okay. Alright, I'll tell you. A passage is just a flow of ideas spread over a number of paragraphs. Okay, guys, have you seen the building of a wall brick by brick? How many of you have seen the building of a wall? Okay, so how do we build a wall? We build it brick by brick, correct? Okay, we pile up one brick over the other and paste them together and glue them together to make a complete wall, correct? Similarly, an RC passage is also made like that. There are a lot of ideas put together so that so that the whole passage makes sense. Okay, the ideas are put together to form a passage. Okay, it's just a flow of ideas spread over a number of paragraphs. Okay, so it's very important to understand that there are a lot of ideas. Every sentence will exhibit at least one idea. Okay, it's and you need to keep in mind that the ideas that that are coming out from the sentence, they'll collectively give you the main idea of the passage. Okay, now how to understand a passage? Okay, how to understand a passage? Okay, now there are 3 steps to understanding a passage. Okay, first, extract the ideas. Now, as we said, it's a passage. A passage is a flow of ideas. Okay, now the first step is to extract ideas. Okay, while you're reading, extract the ideas from that particular sentence. Okay, now once you've extracted an idea, relate it. Okay, say say there are 2 sentences. You've extracted the idea from the first sentence and you've extracted the idea from the second sentence. Now it's important that you relate those 2 ideas. Okay, so when an author is writing something, okay, he won't just pick up some random idea and put it in his article. Okay, it's always both the consecutive ideas will make sense, will relate to each other. Okay, so find out the relation. What is the relation between the first idea and the second idea? Understand how the ideas are related. Understand the flow of argument. Okay, there will be a flow to it. Okay, like there will be a certain flow to the argument that the author is making. Okay, so he'll have a particular set of ideas, so that when you read them in a particular sequence, they all will make sense. Okay, now once you relate those ideas, you need to draw conclusions. Okay, there'll always be some some message that the author is trying to give you. Okay, so you have to find out the main idea. Okay, purpose. Okay, why is the author writing this? Okay, who is he talking to? Okay, what is his audience? Okay, which segment of the people does this article appeal to? Why is he telling this to them? What does he want them to do? Okay, if you can ask these questions and find out the answers, okay, cracking an RC passage will be very, very easy. Okay, all right. Now we were discussing that breaking long sentences will make it easier to crack an RC passage. How do we break long sentences? Okay, guys, any idea, guys, how do we break long sentences? Any idea how to break long sentences into shorter ones? Mahesh is not sure. Harish is not sure. Haripriya is not sure. Ashish, Satish, Shiva. By reading asked questions. Amal, when you read asked questions, you'll have you'll know where to find the answer, but you probably won't know how to break a sentence. Okay, Bhavya is right. Bhavya says by watching words like although, but, etc. Okay, what are those words called, Bhavya? You are right. We find conjunctions to break them, Varun says. Very good, Varun. Choose sentences which are suitable or make sense. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you. Guys, how many of you have heard of conjunctions? As someone just said, Bharadwaj said by using conjunctions. What do you mean by conjunctions? Okay, Monal has an interesting question. Monal, hold that thought. I'll answer this question as soon as I finish this slide. Okay. Alright, conjunctions are those words which join 2 sentences, as Junaid says, correct. Okay, conjunctions are those words which join 2 sentences. Okay, join 2 sentences, or you can say join two clauses. Okay, to form one single sentence. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, take one sentence, my name is Mani Kumar. Okay, take another sentence, I am a senior GRE expert. Okay, and we take the word and. Okay, so and you can combine those two sentences saying my name is Mani Kumar and I am a senior GRE expert. Okay, so the word and is a conjunction there. Okay, alright, get it guys? I joined two sentences using a conjunction. Correct? Okay, now there are two types of conjunctions. Okay, there are two types of conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. Okay, now just the example I gave you, the word and was a conjunction. Okay, so these conjunctions are the words used to join two sentences. Okay, now when an author writes a long sentences, when an author writes long sentence, okay, he uses conjunctions a lot. Okay, he uses a lot of conjunctions to join two or more sentences. Okay, so you can see a lot of conjunctions in a sentence when it's quite long. Okay, it's so wherever you find a conjunction, you can spot a conjunction and then break the sentence down right there. Okay, now there are two types of conjunctions. Okay, to get into detail, there are two types of conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions as well as subordinating conjunctions. Okay, now coordinating conjunctions, can any one of you guess what are coordinating conjunctions? Just going by the name, can you guess what are coordinating conjunctions? Bharadwaj says supporting. So Bharadwaj, can you be a little elaborate? Bhavya says which relates to the first sentence. Used for coordinating each other. Close enough, Haripriya. Supports both sentences. Correct, Swati. Right. You're right on target. Yeah, guys, I'll tell you. Coordinating conjunctions are those conjunctions, okay, those words which join two sentences and yet give equal importance to both the sentences. Okay, just like the example I gave you, my name is Mani Kumar and I am a senior GRE expert. Okay, if you break down the sentence, okay, individually both the sentence makes sense. Okay, when you combine the sentences using the word and, okay, still both the clauses are independent of each other. Okay, and the word supports both the sentences. Okay, now there are some examples: for, and, so, yet, nor. Okay, so there are some examples of coordinating conjunctions. Okay, you can see on the screen. Can you guys form a statement using any of the coordinating conjunctions? Try forming a statement using any of these coordinating conjunctions. Okay guys, you have 15 seconds time. Okay, Manish has an interesting sentence. Manish says, I love you and I hate you. Alright, I can't figure out the literal sense, but the usage is right. I am not going to eat or drink. Correct, Bhavya? She is neither studying nor letting me study. Tanya says, correct. I was late, so I got punishment. Correct. Alright, right guys, so you all are correct. Okay, almost all of you got it right. Okay, so that is a coordinating conjunction. Okay, now moving out to the second type. Okay, subordinating conjunctions. Okay, now what are subordinating conjunctions? Subordinating conjunctions are those conjunctions, okay, which join two sentences yet they do not give equal preference to both of the clauses. Okay, they give more importance to one of the clause and less importance to another clause. Okay, Bharadwaj, I would disagree. Okay, they're not opposing statements. Okay, but they'll give importance to one of the clauses more than the other clause. Okay, so words like after, before, because, wherever, whereas, whenever, okay, words like this, you can try to use them in a sentence. Okay, then you will find out that one part of the sentence is of much more weightage than the other part of the sentence. Okay, okay, now let's not get into the details of it. Okay, much details of it. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so there are two techniques. Okay, look for coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. What else can we do, guys? What else can we do to break down a sentence, long sentence, into a shorter one? What else can we do to break down a longer sentence into a shorter one? Phrases and clauses. Okay, guys, I'm not seeing the energy, guys. I want responses from all of you. Ananya says every idea should be handled separately. Probably yes, Ananya. Okay, I'll tell you guys. Have you guys heard of punctuations? How many of you heard of punctuations? Yes? Okay. Okay, now there are quite a few punctuations. Okay, comma, semicolon, colon, and hyphen. Okay, don't go for a full stop. Okay, because whenever there's a full stop there, or you call it a period. Okay, whenever there is a period, the sentence has ended there. Okay, so whenever there is a comma, a semicolon, a colon, or a hyphen, it makes your work much easier. Okay, spot the punctuations. Okay, break down the sentence and read it. And read the broken down sentences individually. You'll be able to understand. Okay, clear till now, guys? If you are given an RC passage, would you know how to approach them? Yes? Okay, now shall we see some actual examples of an RC passage? Are you guys still scared, or are you guys enjoying this? Bhavya says still scared. Praneeth is enjoying. Sripal is also enjoying. Somewhat scared, says Haripriya. Anna is enjoying. Okay, Amal is also enjoying. Alright. Okay, guys. So guys, I'll show you a typical RC passage. It's an intercept from an RC passage. Okay, this is just a small part of an actual RC passage. Okay, I'll read it out for you. Okay, while I'm reading, I want all of you to read it with me. Okay, in the 19th century, when women began to enter factories, Jules Simon, a French politician, warned that by doing so, women would give up their femininity. Frederick Engels, however, predicted that women would be liberated from the social, legal, and economic subordination of the family by technological developments that made possible the recruitment of the whole female sex into public industry. Observers thus differed on the social effects of mechanization, but they agreed that it would transform women's lives. Okay, so how many of you understood that? Ashish understood. Sai understood. Shiva understood. Sumant understood. Amal says almost. Shripal, not completely. Suman says little bit. Bhargav understood. Junaid didn't. Okay. Alright guys, so let's now just postmortem this RC passage and see what it has got in store for us. Okay, so how many sentences are there in this passage, guys? How many sentences are there in this passage? 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 9, 12. Okay, 3, 3 again, 4. Okay, some of you are saying 9, 12. Okay, alright. Okay, so guys, there are 3 sentences, okay, as most of you predicted, right? Most of you said it right. Okay, so there are 3 sentences. I've highlighted them, 2 of them with white and 1 of them with black. Okay, can you see that, guys, on the screen? Yes? Okay. So now there are 3 sentences. Let's we'll go through each of the sentence one by one. Okay, now before we do that, how many conjunctions do you see there? Seven, 1, 9, 5, 4, 2. 7, 4, 4, 5. Okay, huge variations. Okay, all right. Okay, so guys, there are actually a lot of conjunctions in the passage. Okay, there is a but, there is the word that. Okay, there is the word however. Okay, then yeah. So there are a lot of conjunctions in this RC passage. Okay, where sometimes there may even be more than 20, 25. Okay, but it's always one should keep in mind, okay, what are the conjunctions that are important for us, okay, that will help us break down the sentence into a much more manageable unit. Okay, so all these techniques that I'm telling you, okay, it's not a hard and fast rule that you should apply these in every RC passage. Okay, these are the techniques that will only assist you when you are not able to infer a particular RC passage. Okay, when you're not understanding an RC passage, you can apply these techniques that will help you understand these passages. Okay, but when you are already aware, when you are already understanding a particular RC passage, okay, you don't have to apply these techniques and and increase the time that you are spending on one particular RC passage. Okay, so that you have to keep in mind. Okay, the check for the conjunctions that that will help you break down sentences. Okay, so let's see what are the conjunctions that are used here. Okay, and punctuation marks. Okay, so Amal says please repeat what you just said. Okay, I'll repeat it again. Okay, so all the techniques that I'm telling you now, okay, it's not a hard and fast rule that you have to apply these techniques in every RC passage. Okay, these techniques are only for your assistance when you do not understand a particular passage. Okay, when you don't understand a particular passage, okay, you have to use these techniques and you have to get to the bottom of the RC passage. Okay, When you can understand a particular RC passage and in the very first go, say if you are a good reader and you are understanding a passage at the very first go, you don't have to apply these techniques. Okay, that will only take more time for you to solve them. Okay, so when you find an RC passage tough, okay, these techniques will help you. Okay, now we'll start with the first sentence. In the 19th century, when women began to enter factories, Jules Simon, a French politician, warned that by doing so, women would give up their femininity. Okay, Satish is asking, is there a way to identify these conjunctions when you find a lot of them in the passage? Okay, Satish, the only way to identify which conjunction will help you in breaking down a sentence is that you'll get it by practice. Okay, once you're reading it, okay, in the very first time you might not know that this conjunction will you can break it down here. Okay, but you can go for a you can go try and see, break a sentence using a particular conjunction. Okay, if you find a conjunction, break down the sentence there and see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, move on to the next one. Okay, it's only to assist you and help you decrease the time in understanding. Okay, so coming to the point again, in the 19th century when women began to enter factories, okay, so the author is establishing the situation there. Okay, like we say in stories, once upon a time in some place. Okay, the author is establishing the situation in the 19th century when women began to enter factories, comma. Okay, so now he has established this situation there. He's telling that in the 19th century when women started working, what happened? Let's see what happens. Jules Simon, a French politician. Now we don't necessarily want to know who is Jules Simon. Okay, he may be a French politician, he may be someone else. Okay, we don't need that. Okay, that is just given to confuse you, to make the sentence longer. Jules Simon warned that by doing so, women would give up their femininity. Okay, Jules Simon, some French politician, he said that if women started working, they'll lose their femininity. Okay, now femininity means the qualities of a female, womanliness. Correct, Sumant? You're right. Okay, so he was afraid that women would lose their womanliness or female qualities. Okay, that is what Jules Simon said. Now moving to the next sentence. Okay, let's see what is the next sentence. Okay, now Friedrich Engels, comma, however. Okay, now we can stop right there. Okay, whenever we come across the word however, what do we expect? What do we expect, guys, whenever we come across the word however? Contradiction. Satish says contradiction, correct? Okay, something opposite. Okay, right. Okay, so Friedrich Engels, however. Okay, so whenever there is a word however, you can expect a contradicting statement coming up. Okay. Okay, so if I say the weather was very good, however, okay, then you'll straight away understand that there is some condition coming up. Okay, I'm going to tell something that is not in sync with what I said. Okay, weather was not as good as I'm saying. Okay, weather was good, however. Okay, so you can expect that there will be a shift in tone. Okay, so Friedrich Engels, however, predicted that women would be liberated from the social, legal and economic subordination of the family by technological developments that made possible the recruitment of the whole female sex into public industry. Okay, so he predicted that women would be liberated from all the traditional barriers, okay, all the social, legal and economic barriers, okay, that that arose due to women women going to factories and start working. Okay, so he said that women would be, basically he said women would be free from all the traditional barriers if they start working. Okay, so Frederick Engels had quite a different opinion than Jules Simon. Okay, so that's what the first two sentences say. Okay, now coming to the third sentence. Okay, now in the first sentence the author has given the opinion of one particular person. In the second sentence he has given the opinion of another person. So what do we expect in the final statement? Okay, what do we expect in the final statement, guys? Conclusion, correct. Bindu is absolutely right. Okay, so he'll conclude by telling us something. Okay, now what is that? Let's see. Observers thus differed on the social effects of mechanization, but they agreed that it would transform women's lives. Okay, so the author is saying observers thus differed on the social effects of mechanization. He said observers had a different opinions on women starting working. Okay, but they all of them agreed that it would definitely change women's lives in some form or the other. Okay, was this passage easy to understand, easy to infer? Yes. Okay, now you guys understand how to dissect an RC passage to understand it properly. Okay, Mohammed is asking if we use the word however, is it completely contradicting the previous statement, or is it a condition? Okay, it depends on how it's used, Junaid. Okay, it also depends on the context. Okay, you need to understand the whole context of the passage, and you need to understand sometimes however may be used as a condition, sometimes however may be used as a as a contradiction. Okay, all right. Okay, shall we see one more example, guys? Okay, shall we see one more example? And this time I'll ask you one actual GRE question based on the passage. Okay, Junaid is asking, does RC understanding of RC section depend on your vocabulary? Okay, very interesting question, Junaid. Guys, all of you listen. Okay, GRE verbal is is not your English vocabulary. Okay, it's not your understanding or knowledge of the English language. Okay, GRE verbal only tests your reasoning skills, verbal reasoning skills. Okay, verbal reasoning skills means the ability in you to question a particular usage statement. Okay, if you read a particular sentence, okay, you need to know why this sentence is framed in that particular way. Okay, if you can ask yourself that question, that why is this word used here and not here, why is this word used here and not here, why is this particular sentence written like this and not like this, okay, that's all your verbal reasoning is. Okay, it doesn't much matter if your English is poor or weak. Okay, it depends on your verbal reasoning skills. Okay, so if you are if you have been reading novels and reading a lot of books since your childhood, okay, you need not be overconfident that I'll crack GRE verbal easily. Okay, and if you are if you are not very much good in reading or not very habitual in reading, okay, you need not demotivate yourself saying that I don't know how to crack RC passages, I am not a good reader. Okay, if you have that reasoning skill, if you have that skill of reasoning, then you can crack GRE verbal very easily. Okay, all right. So guys, I hope you understand that. Okay, now let's move on to the next passage. Okay, very quickly. Okay, now I'll give you exactly 30 seconds time. Okay, I'll give you exactly 30 seconds time. Go through the passage. Okay, and I'll ask you a question based on that. Okay, your time starts now. Okay guys, time's up. How many of you understood this passage? Time's up guys. How many of you understood this passage? Sai did, Harish did, Mahesh did, Anna understood, Bhargav did, Swati almost, Haripriya understood, Amal says mostly, Ananya did. Okay, most of you did. Let's see how much did you understand. Okay, I'll give you a question now. Okay, let's see how many of you answer. Ready for the challenge? Ready for the challenge guys? Yes? Okay. Okay, I was expecting more of a bring it on kind of attitude. Alright. Okay. Okay, here's the question guys. Which of the following are true based on the information provided in the passage? The increase in the proportion of women in armed forces will bring dramatic gains for women. Pay for women in the armed forces is as high as those of men. The attitude of armed forces towards occupational equality is condescending. Okay, so which one is the right option? 1 1 1 3 1 3 1 1 3 3 3 1 1. One and 2. 1 is absolutely wrong, says Junaid. 1 and 3. Okay, all of you said, almost all of you said you guys understood this passage, and yet only 2 of you got it right. How is that guys? What, okay, how many of you want to know the answer? Okay, Bhargav is asking what's the answer. Bhavya is asking what's the answer. Not so quick guys. Let's move back to the passage. Okay, we'll dissect it again. We'll discuss it, and then we'll come back to this question again. All right, deal? All right. Okay, so coming back to the RC passage, the recent change to all volunteer armed forces in the United States will eventually produce a gradual increase in the proportion of women in the armed forces. Okay. All right. So how many sentences are there in this particular passage? Okay, guys, let's be very quick. Okay. Two sentences. Correct. Okay. Okay, now let's take the major conjunctions in the passage. Okay, the recent change to all volunteer armed forces. Okay, now all volunteer armed forces is the 4 words is a noun. Okay, the whole complete 4 words you can take it as a noun. Okay, it's an entity. Okay, it's an institution. All volunteer armed forces. Okay, you need not confuse it. You need not confuse it. Okay, it's just making the sentence bigger. Okay, the recent change to all volunteer armed forces in the United States will eventually produce a gradual increase in the proportion of women in the armed forces. Okay, so the author is saying this, there was some change in the all volunteer armed forces in USA. Okay, which will eventually increase the number of women. Okay, instead of saying that the change will increase the number of women, the author is saying will eventually produce a gradual increase in the proportion of women. Okay, it's the same thing. The author is trying to twist and turn, just like the snake we saw in the beginning of the seminar. Okay, so the author says the recent change to all volunteer armed forces will eventually increase the number of women and in the variety of women's assignments. Okay, so there are two things to note. Okay, the number of women will increase due to that particular change. Number of women will increase, and the number of variety of women's assignments will also increase. Okay, but probably not the dramatic gains for women that might have been expected. Okay, so there is a lot of change. Okay, due to the change, number of women will increase and the variety of women's assignments will also increase. Okay, but it is not that big a change that the author was expecting. Okay, so but probably not the dramatic gains for women that might have been expected. Okay, so now the word but, okay, but again signifies a contradiction. Okay, so when the author says but, okay, he implies a contradiction. He says but the gains are not as dramatic as we were expecting. Okay, so the author so what is the tone of the author here? What is the tone of the author here, guys? Slightly negative. Okay, opposing, skeptical, correct? Okay, we can't say it's negative, Junaid. Okay, we can say it's skeptical, Haripriya, right? Okay, so yeah, the author is a little bit disappointed, isn't he? You guys agree with me? He is a little bit disappointed. Yes? Okay, he was expecting something, but it didn't happen, right? Okay, so he is a little bit disappointed. Okay, so let's see what he says next. Okay, this is so even though the armed forces operate in an ethos of institutional change oriented toward occupational equality. Okay, so the author is saying this is so even though the armed forces operate in an ethos of institutional change. Okay, so he's saying that even though the armed forces are, they follow occupational equality. Okay, they don't discriminate between men and women or any of their employees. Okay, they don't discriminate between anyone. They are, they are oriented toward occupational equality. Okay, and under the federal sanction here means the US government law. Okay, the law of US government. Okay, federal sanction of equal pay for equal work. Okay, and he says the army also operates under equal pay for equal work. Okay, even though they are, they are equal towards everyone, even though they don't discriminate, they pay equal pay for equal work, even though this this change has happened and it didn't bring as much gains as we were expecting. Okay, so Mohammad Junaid is asking what is the meaning of ethos. Okay, ethos is the culture and environment that constitutes the values around in the army. Okay, so you can Google it and find out the exact meaning. Okay, but it means the culture and the value system that they operate under. Okay, so that is called ethos. Okay, Junaid. All right. Okay, so the author says even though the armed forces operate under equal pay for equal work and they are they are not discriminative of anything. Okay, they are not providing as much gains as are expected. Okay, so now let's get back to the question. I'll ask you the question again. Now this time let me see how many of you answer it correctly. Okay, again, which of the following are true based on the information provided in the passage? The increase in the proportion of women in armed forces will bring dramatic gains for women. Pay for women in the armed forces is as high as those of men. Attitude of armed forces towards occupational equality is condescending. Okay, Chakradhar says 3, Bindu says 3, Monal says only 2, Rajesh says 2, Suman says 2, 1 and 3 says Amal, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay. Good to see more number of you getting to the right answer this time. Okay, the right answer is option number 2. Okay, and the first person to answer the question correctly was Kaushik Reddy. Give a big round of applause to Kaushik Reddy. Well done, Kaushik, and all of you who have participated. Okay, now let's get back to the seminar, and I'll tell you why this is the right answer, why this is the right option. Well, it's our pleasure, Kaushik. Okay, our fellow students are congratulating you. Okay, very good. Okay, so coming to the first option, the increase in the proportion of women in the armed forces will bring dramatic gains for women. Okay, so clearly the author was disappointed. Okay, he said there was a change, okay, which increased the number of women and the variety of the assignments, but it didn't bring as dramatic gains as was expected. Correct? Okay, so first option can be eliminated. Agree with me? Yes? Correct. Okay. Okay. So coming to the third option, the attitude of armed forces towards occupational equality is condescending. Okay. So now anywhere in the passage did the author say that the army's attitude was condescending? Anywhere in the passage? No, not at all. Okay. In fact, the author had a good opinion about army, about the armed forces. Okay. It's only because he had a good opinion about the armed forces he was a little disappointed. Okay. So the author never said that their attitude was condescending. Okay. So guys, always keep in mind that do not assume. Okay. Do not assume. Okay, and only make logical inferences from the passage. Never assume what the author may have been trying to say. We always come out with a logical conclusion. Okay. Now coming to the second option, pay for women in the armed forces is as high as those of men. Okay. So the author clearly says the army works under an ethos of occupational equality and equal pay for equal work. Correct? So doesn't this mean that the armed forces pay equal for men and women? Yes? Correct? How many of you agree with me? Okay, great. Okay, so the passage clearly says equal pay for equal work. Okay, the armed forces operate under an ethos of equal pay, federal sanction of equal pay for equal work. Okay, so second option is obviously the right option. Okay, understood, guys, till now? Clear till now? Okay, so now if we give you any RC passage, would you know how to approach that particular RC passage? Okay, Manish, if there are more than if there is more than one option, right, then they'll give you in the question that there are multiple right answers. Okay. All right. Okay. So guys, all the tips and techniques that I told you today, okay, they are just the tip of the iceberg. Okay. So these are the major techniques, tips and techniques that that most students use to crack their RC passages in the RC section. Okay, but these are just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, there are a lot of other techniques, there are a lot of other tips and tricks and techniques, okay, that are that are available, okay, that you can go through, and if you learn them, the RC passages will be much more easier. Okay, and in fact you'll start enjoying reading RC section. Okay, I know a few students personally who are very scared initially of the RC section, but after that, okay, they would never leave RC passages. Okay, so that is a kind of addiction you'll have once you understand. Okay, now how many of you feel that you are not scared of RC section anymore? How many of you feel that? Amal says I do. Chakradhar says myself. Bhavya has given me a thumbs up. Swati says much better. Varun is still scared. Don't worry, Varun. If you practice a little bit, you'll be much more familiar with these RC passages. A bit relaxed, says Bhargav. I'm sure, Kaushik, you'll do that. Okay, a little more practice and you'll be able to do that. All right, guys. Okay, so this was all theory. In today's online seminar, I gave you all the tips and techniques, and I told you how to do it. Okay, but exactly applying it in a practical application of these theories, okay, it's a totally different thing. Okay, now you guys know how to do it. Okay, to do it. Okay, to put it in a practical application, it's a totally different story. Okay, so to tell you how exactly to apply these techniques, in your study, in your further studies, and how exactly to use these techniques to boost your verbal score. Okay, I'll hand over the mic again to my colleague Samar. Okay, he'll tell you how exactly you apply these techniques in your actual studies.
Thank you, Mani. Thank you, Mani. So how was the seminar, guys? Great. Superb. Enjoyed. Excellent. Had a good time. Okay. So what did you learn? Cracking RC. Says Amal. Okay. Enjoyed and learned. Okay. On how to make RC passages so simple to understand. All right. Sure, Rajesh Reddy. We will help you with that also. Okay. Now, after you have after you learned all the tips and techniques, what is the next thing that you should do? Okay, one is saying where to prepare for GRE. Monica Reddy says practice. Sri says practice. Mohammed says practice. Okay, Suman says can we have more examples? Varun says apply them. Bindu says implementation. Mahesh says practice. Bhargav says practice. Amal says practice. Alright, everybody says practice. Okay, now how many of you would like to know how GREedge can help you practice and how GREedge can help you boost your score? Yeah? Okay? Okay, Varun would like to know, alright? Mohammed, okay? Bhavya? Alright. Now, would you like me to explain it as plain Manila, or you want to understand with the help of some example? Do you like plain vanilla or do you like Faluda? With examples. All right. Okay. Now, let's take some example of where you are learning. Okay. Now, give me some examples of skills that you come across every day or that you practice every day. Very common skills like reading, dancing, singing. Can I have some examples from you? Okay, Mohammed says programming, Amal says lyrics, Suman says reading newspaper early morning, alright. Reading novels and programming says Satish, alright. Rajesh says playing cricket daily. Sripal says communicating. Shri says reading books. Alright. So how many of you know how to drive a car? Okay, Mohammed knows, Sumant knows, Monica Reddy, Varun. Okay, Monica Reddy doesn't know. Alright, Sadish knows, Bhavya knows. Okay, but everybody is familiar of how to drive a car, what it takes to drive a car? Yeah? Okay, now how did you learn to drive a car? Did you read a textbook? Learning made easy for dummies? Did you watch a video on YouTube? Learn driving in 2 hours of videos? No. Okay. Did you? Okay, somebody is saying driving school. Okay. So when you went to a driving school, did they teach you on a blackboard? No. Okay, then what did you do? Mohammed says they made me drive on my own. Right. Amal says practice by practical. Varun says practical experience. Right. So you need a car to learn driving. Shri says practice for 1 hour daily. Right. So you need a car to drive, to learn how to drive. Right. And GRE is also a skill-based exam. Okay. Now, what is common with all skills? You need to practice them. If you practice them, you improve. And you can only learn by practice. Correct? Right? Yeah. Now, if you drove the car on your own without anybody's help, what would happen? Accidents? Crash? Probably nothing. Few crashes? Yeah. So you can have few crashes. But would you learn fast? Amal says tension. No? Okay. Now your learning will be slow because you will be trying to figure out most of the things on your own. Right? And you might continue to make the same mistakes again and again. Okay. Now, if you have a trainer next to you who is looking at everything that you do, who guides you at the right time, and who lets you control the steering, when you have to practice, but who is just looking and monitoring and giving you, fine tips and guidance, does that help you? Yeah? Okay. Now, if the same kind of environment, same kind of simulation is given for your GRE preparation, how would that be? Have you ever imagined? Okay, where you're given the car Okay, you are given the material, you are given all the questions, you are given all the tips and techniques. Okay, and you are allowed to practice. You are allowed to practice, numerous, countless, thousands of, unlimited GRE style questions. Okay, and then you have, personal trainers for cont and verbal. Okay, 2 personal trainers. Okay, looking at every millisecond of your practice. Okay, they're looking over you all the time, and they're guiding you. They're stopping you from making mistakes. They're correcting your mistakes and giving very, very precise feedback of how to improve. Okay, and you can ask them any number of doubts, and they will persistently, continuously, tirelessly clear all your doubts. How would your GRE preparation be? Have you ever thought of that? Awesome, says Sumant. Okay, Mohammed is saying that is awesome, but don't they go to sleep? Okay, now there's a very advanced technology that GREedge has. It's called the millisecond monitoring technology. Okay, now what this technology does is it helps your personal trainers keep track of every millisecond of yours. Okay, no matter what time you prepare, day, night, evening, morning, whatever time you prepare, they're able to capture every millisecond of yours. Okay, how much time you're spending on each question. Okay, where are you making mistakes, what are the types of mistakes you're doing. Okay, and all that can be calculated and given you very, very precise feedback. Okay, now along with all this, you'll have a student welfare group. Okay, you'll have academic seminars, you'll have a lot of apps that will make learning very easy and fun. Okay, and you'll always get motivation and support from your personal trainers. Okay, whenever you feel low, whenever you don't take sessions, you always have somebody to come and tell you that you need to get back onto your practice. How many of you would like to have practice like that? How many of you would like to prepare like that for your GRE?